Hi, I'm Ralph, and today I would like to talk to you about the refinement in Scrum. In my personal opinion, the refinement is really a crucial element of a successful Scrum implementation. So the goal of every sprint is to have a done working increment, a done working product at the end of the sprint, no work remaining, it's releasable. We have this self-organizing development team in the context of the sprint, which is like a protective context for them. But it doesn't change the fact, garbage in, garbage out. So in order to be done at the end of the sprint, we need to be ready at the beginning of the sprint. And how do we get there? That exactly is the refinement. And I would like to use the white paper of Takeuchi Ononaka, the new product development game. In there, actually, they describe overlapping development phases, like in a classic linear approach. But if you replace phases with sprints, we have a great metaphor. And what I often see is that companies start off with sprints, and they have between those sprints, they have a short gap. So the gap is intended to be used to make the next sprint ready, executable. What happens in reality is that they use that time desperately to try to get the previous sprint to done, which means the next sprint is even less ready, and how this overall works out, you can imagine. So what we need is actually some overlap. It means in the current sprint, we invest some time to make the subsequent sprint ready. And the time, the overlap we have here, that's what I like to consider the refinement. And according to the Scrum Guide, the refinement is less than 10% of our sprint capacity. Actually, if you think about it, that's quite some amount of time, but this time really is needed to get a good understanding into the whole Scrum team so that they can cohesively make one step together towards the sprint goal and be done at the end of the sprint. What I like to do is for every week of sprint length I'd like to set up, I start off with one refinement of 2 hours. So it means if you have a bi-weekly sprint, you would have 2 refinements. If you have a 4-week sprint, you would have 4 refinements. And that equates exactly to 5% of your sprint capacity. I hardly have less, but I inspect and adapt, and then I go up and down depending on which state we are in, what state the product is in, how the market changes. So usually I move between the range of 5 to 10%. Sometimes actually go even a little bit higher if there's need. So now if you look at the readiness level, which we have here, is that in the current sprint we have our sprint backlog. For the next sprint we have a good idea, then something, and then it kind of drops off. And through the refinement we have here, those 2 refinements in a bi-weekly sprint, we actually make the immediate subsequent sprint ready. And then while we are in this sprint, the same thing repeats and repeats. So we have this rolling wave. Essentially, we think a mile wide, an inch deep. So we have always the whole picture according to the product vision we aim for. But once we go into a sprint, we are an inch wide and a mile deep because we really are ready to be done at the end of the sprint. And what I like to think about is a query. Let's say this is our product backlog we have over here, the elements at the top. They are small enough, they have the right size, they have an estimate, they have clear acceptance criteria, and anything else. So they can be put into a sprint. Underneath there we have then the more coarse-grained product backlog items and so on. So my analogy is a quarry. So at the top we have gravel, pebbles, boulders, rocks. Now we take the gravel, which is ready, and we turn it into product, and simultaneously we refine pebbles into gravel, rocks into boulders, and so on. And this essentially develops a machinery. And the overall capability of turning ready product backlog into product and simultaneously refining subsequent product backlog into ready product backlog, that's what you can consider your velocity. And once you know your velocity, you have good information about how you can plan what to expect until a certain date or how long a certain amount of functionality will take. So this is the refinement, And this is a really important aspect of successful Scrum implementation. I hope you enjoyed this recording. I'm Ralph Jocham. I'm a professional Scrum trainer with Scrum.org and currently based in Switzerland.